Yo, what's happening? It's the God, it's Cam, and all that good shit. Here for another little live stream. Um, for those that don't know, I just dropped a new album called God Has No Allies. We're gonna be playing in the background. And yeah. So with that being said, I'm here to answer a few questions about the album, let everybody know themes and motifs and all that shit. These are fuck it, Chat GPT questions. All right, so the first one. Hmm. We're gonna do it like this. Oh, whoops. The first question. What inspired the title God Has No Allies? All right, so the inspiration for the title, it comes from a bar from a song with me and myself, with myself and Sage, Earl Simmons. The joint is dedicated to DMX. So God has no allies. If man is God, right? Or man is an aspect of God in physical form, then God can do everything. And sometimes when you're on the right side of a situation and you know it, and everybody else and everything else that you know is against it, but you know in your heart of hearts that you're on the right side of it, you have no allies. You gotta stay on the side of God. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's the third album in the my whole, I guess, God series. The first one was Feed Your Gods. The concept came from the idea of the things that help motivate that help motivate and control you are your gods. So you gotta feed the ones that feed you. The second one, God is gracious, is actually the meaning of my first name. I always wanted to do a self-titled album, so that's my little workaround for that. And I just explained God has no allies. So, how does this album differ from your previous projects in terms of themes and sound? Ah, with this album, I purposely set out to make music that I could perform. Like, it gets a little tiring going to these venues, and all my records are like low tempo and shit. So most of these records are up tempo. I got a little bit more personal. Yeah, I like this one a lot. What was your mindset going into the creation of this album? Like I said, I wanted to make something that I could perform. More up tempos. I make um I make inspirational music. So the theme the theme of most of my music is hopefully inspiring people to do the things that they love through my example of doing the things that I love. What message do you want listeners to take away after hearing this album? You can do it too. That's simple, but that's all my music. I also want the listener to learn a little bit more about me, but more so like theme music to motivation, like gym music. You know what I'm saying? Like shit to make you feel inspired. How does this album reflect on your growth as an artist? Ooh, I made my first girl song that wasn't corny, or my first love song that wasn't corny. That's a bit of growth. Um, a lot more hooks, a lot more choruses, a lot more traditional songs. I sang on this one a little bit. Yeah, lots of growth. What's the significance of the baby picture? mm, all right, two things. And people may or may not know this. Like, if people really fuck with me and fuck with the music, they'll probably pick this one up already. So, every third installation of a series I do, I use a baby picture. The last baby picture was actually my sister, but I thought it was me. I love you, Corwin, and thank you for allowing me to use your picture. Um, this one I use my own baby picture, and it's like, what's that phrase? You start where you finish where you start. Like the inception of me is like being a baby, right? So you finish where you start. What does the phrase "God have no allies" mean to you personally? I feel like I already explained it. Sometimes the cheese stands alone. Like I have siblings, but for the most part, I was raised by myself and my mom. I'm my mom's only child, right? So sometimes you gotta walk on your own path, yeah. Sometimes you really have to just do you and be you and believe in yourself and believe in the God inside of you. And that's it. How did how did the collaboration with your producers, Aiden Woods, Prolific Beats, and Meek Ways shape the sound of the project? Ooh. So Prolific and I work together extensively. I appreciate you, bro. You actually brought me back into making music and recording and shit. So what we do, we push each other. Like he'll send me a joint, or I'll give him a suggestion for a joint, or let him hear something else I made, and we just kind of push each other to be more creative, expand our styles, and he's just amazing. So with this most recent joint, it let's see here, he he produced the Phyllis Hyman joint. I I thought it was a Phyllis Hyman sample. The sample ended up being another artist, but I heard it. I'm like, yo, this is a love song, and he pushed me into that direction. There's a few joints on the next album I'm gonna drop where he pushed me into the direction of going back to freestyling. Like, so Prolific, I appreciate you, bro, forever. With Aiden, I met Aiden at a was it a beat show or open mic? Either way, we met each other. We chatted for a while. He ended up sending me a beat pack, like some amazing shit. And his contribution to the album, he added that dark, gritty, that like, yeah. I could say like if I don't like comparing artist to artist, but I would say with this album, Prolific was Prolific played the role of a Kanye for me and gave me the soulful shit. Aiden played the role of an alchemist for me and gave me that dark shit. And then Neek Ways, he he produced the intro and he set the whole album off. The Rambler Part Two. Again, I like doing series and continuations of records, so I wouldn't be surprised if. Actually, no, that's not true. This isn't the first girl joint that I had. Jezebel, Prolific produced also. That joint, ooh, that's a classic. I love that record. I should shoot a video to that. Um, but yeah, so Prolific pushes me. He pushes my pen into those places where I felt uncomfortable before. Um, yeah, bro, I appreciate you, man. Let's see here. And again, Neek Ways, he produced the intro, and it like the vibe of the record and the continuity and the Rambler Part One, the Rambler Part Two, and the growth, and just where the story goes in those two songs. It set the album off. What challenges did you face in the recording of this album? Ooh, um, my computer crashed. I had to buy a new computer. I had to replace that. I've also been building a studio for my label in another location for a couple of artists I work with. So I thought I lost my entire album. I thought I was gonna have to re-record it, and I was like 80% done. Came to find out I didn't because I fortunately exported records or all the records that I had. So I just had to be creative with that. So I almost had to re-record the whole album. That's probably the biggest challenge. That and finding time to do it outside of my other job and outside of being a husband and being a father and taking care of this big ass puppy I have right here. Um, and a son and a brother and all that. So yeah, but the biggest one was the computer crashing on me. And I lost the data and all that. Um, do you feel like this album is your most personal work yet? Why or why not? Mm, kinda. Not really though. I feel like my most personal album is probably Modern Day Revolutionary 3 because it was so many records. And it's so many records and so many themes and so many things I've never said on other albums. This one's not, it's personal, but it's not like personal events, like personal feelings. And this one, God Has No Allies, is me basically saying if I gotta do it as far as from a business standpoint or as an artist or whatever the case is, by myself, then I'm okay with it. Now, ooh, some pretty good questions. All right, the Rambler Part 2 is the opening track. How does it set the tone for the album? Okay. The Rambler. All right, so let me explain what the Rambler is. A Rambler is an old school car, and I love vehicles. So when I was younger, I really wanted a Rambler. Like I like wagons and shit, right? So I call and a Rambler is a person who rambles, and I ramble like I literally talk. So is me displaying my ability to rap about any and everything. And it's kind of like me venting. So the reason is number one on the album is like let me get all and it's the last yeah, it's the last record I recorded for the actual album. So and was gonna be the last track for a while. But it's me venting. It's me getting all that shit off my chest and recounting experiences between the last album and this album. And then boom. On the road again. What were the experiences or feelings that inspired the lyrics? So I made this one when I came up with the concept when I was going to Los Angeles to perform and participate in this kind of convention sort of thing. And it's just like I'm kind of, I'm on the road, I'm a road warrior. Shout out to Hawk and Animal. God bless the dead and all that. So I came up with the concept while I was on my way out there thinking about missing my wife and children and how sometimes we gotta be away from home to make home a better place. Can we talk about the concept behind faulty doctrines and what message was I trying to convey? Ooh, all right. So faulty doctrines produced by Aiden Woods. On the Road Again was produced by Prolific Beats. So faulty doctrines. So yeah, faulty doctrines is me calling people out for being hypocrites. That's probably the biggest thing. Me calling people out for being fucking hypocrites and not adhering to the rules and regulations and customs of the cultures that they claim to participate in. Like, I'm about what I claim to be about at all times. And I don't respect people who aren't, if that makes sense. So the message I was trying to convey was basically calling it out, giving people and So from my perspective, and also giving people a song to go to when they deal with those situations. In No Time to Play with Sage Walker, how the collaboration, that's a generic ass. All right, so Sage is bro, we're business partners. Little insider info. The song is about not bullshit opportunities when it comes to this music shit. No time to play. If you want to win the race, you gotta take your place. You know what I'm saying? So no time to play. Oh, bet. All right, I got it. Yeah, I'll let that shit go. All right, so that's kind of that's how it came about. Sage sent me one verse, and I told him to do it over. So he did it over, and that's the verse that ended up on the album, and it sounds way better. In my mind, again, suggests some deep introspection. What was going through your mind when you wrote this track? Um, I was feeling some type of way about just about life and the business in general. It felt like I didn't have people on my side, and I mean it's bullshit. I got people on my side that's helping, and I really appreciate them. But I was feeling some type of way, so I was in my mind again. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to let it out. What's the story behind the Warriors? All right, so Warriors. When I say we, I mean everybody that fucks with me has a they got they got the same type of they got that dog in them. They warriors. Plus, I love that movie, and the record sampled the movie, so it just that's prolific, bro. He gave me the prompt, or gave me like you know what I'm saying. He gave me the prompt, and I took it there. Moreover, I'm American Indian, and we need restitution from the United States government for what's been done to our people. My people being first contact people, especially, but fuck especially. Everybody that got colonized needs to get paid back, land back. More importantly, excuse me, but most importantly, land back. So that's what the Warriors is about. Shout out to everybody out there who's really on that type of time and talking that talk too. Talking about the Rod Hayeses, the Dane Callaways, the Top Cats, the Cormayos, the Phoenix Moons, the Tasha Shees, Johnny Aborigines, yeah, Indigenous Carolina, all of them. Like everybody that's on that type of time, and everybody whose names I don't know who's on that type of time. Came to win sounds triumphant. Was this track meant as a declaration of your resilience? Mm, yes and no. Yes, because yes. Like again, I make inspirational music. I make music that when you sing to it's affirmational. Like, yeah, it's affirmational, positive affirmations. I came to win. I give away game because I want to see you win. If you a real nigga, all that hating shit is sent. I build with the brave, kill all the coward shit. Let's see who laughed last, my nigga. I came to win. Competitive type, right? Also, that record is it's a statement to people that I know that hoard opportunities and ideas and concepts It seemed like they would much rather sabotage other people and self-sabotage to see those people win. So a little bit of both. What's the personal experiences that shape reasons? Uh, hmm. So reasons, which is actually playing right now, is it's like me talking. It's me talking to fear, not just my fear. Could be your fear, but it's me talking to fear itself and expressing the reasons why fear won't win in this situation. Why'd you choose a track named Phyllis Hyman? Is there a particular connection to her? All right, so Miss Phyllis Hyman, may God forever shine light on your soul. Thank you. Amazing, amazing talent, immense voice, phenomenal woman. Um, so I'm a fan of her music. My mom is a fan. That's my mom's favorite singer, also. So we listened to a lot of her music when I was little, and that's that one. So the Phyllis Hyman record, bro sent me the record. I thought it sampled her actually. It wasn't sampling her, but I was listening to a lot of her, a lot of Sade, so I took some of their lyrics together, made a chorus. There is no ordinary love for this bulletproof soul. My sweetest taboo told me meet her on the moon. You know what you true. I told her she the truth. She said the answer is you. You know what to do. It's time to make it move. So it's a song dedicated to my wife, how much I love her, and telling her how much I appreciate her for all the experiences we've had together and just for her being her. And yeah, that's pretty much that one. And the record wasn't even sampling Phyllis Hyman. That's the ironic part. This shit fired up. And then the final track, Only Us, closes the album. What messages did you want to leave listeners with at the end? That at the end of the day, now us could mean a lot of different things, right? In this case, well, in this case, it does mean a few different things. Only us is in me and myself, me and God. It's only us. Only us is in me and my wife. It's us. Only us is in me and my crew. It's us. And more, more empowerment. It's my message to all of these people that we locked in and I'm here 10 toes. And I'm on that type of time. How did the themes of spirituality, street life, and indigenous culture manifest in this album? Woo, that's a loaded ass question. I love it. All right, so like I've been saying, I'm gonna keep saying, hip hop is Eastern Woodland indigenous American culture. Period. Or I would just say American Indian culture because hip hop manifests itself from in a lot of different aspects. But that could go into a totally different conversation. I don't even have the sources to bring that up right now. So there's that. From the chanting, the singing, the drum, the cipher, getting in the circle and actually having the ceremony, it's indigenous American culture. Spirituality, this whole album is a conversation between myself and God, really. Or myself and myself, however you want to quantify that or qualify that. It's it's spiritual. Street life shit. Like I'm talking about that shit because that's what motherfuckers is dealing with, and that's what I've dealt with. It's not a glorification of it, but it is. It's cheap tellies, hot plates, and microwaves. You know what I'm saying? That type, like, and that's pretty much how I approach music. Like my experiences, You know what I'm saying? So, as an indigenous man who's also a very spiritual man, who's lived in certain aspects of street life, that's pretty much what it is. How does this album explore the relationship between divinity and isolation? Ooh, that's a good one. So, think about it. Every every highly spiritual culture or group of people isolate. Whether you have the Nepalese monks who live all the way up in the islands in the mountains of Nepal. You have the people in the islands of the Pacific practicing their spirituality and indigenous culture every single day. People all in the woods in North America, South America, people in the savannas and the grasslands of Africa and in the deserts, European forests and all that, or underground in the catacombs. It's that's what it's isolation, in my opinion, is necessary at times to cultivate a strong sense of spirituality, to allow yourself to understand how to hear the word of God when God speaks to you. And it's difficult to do that when you live in a noisy space. Like, I've been to huge cities, lived in big cities, and without that amount of grounding and being able to center oneself, it's difficult to clear the chatter and understand when God is speaking. So isolation is is key. And as an artist, like the studio is it's a very isolating place. Even if you're going like, like large professional studios, you still gotta get in that vocal booth by yourself. It's just you and God, and that's it. What role does vulnerability play in your lyrics on this project? I feel like vulnerable for the whole album. I'm also strong. Like I'm not using these experiences as a crutch or a reason to whine. So I'm vulnerable and resilient at the same time. But that's just kind of me. Was there any specific life events that inspired the themes on this album? Everything. My wife and I just had a new baby, and most of this album was made while she was on the way. And yeah, just thinking about her and that and what that means for our family. Being a father, building a business, passing on and practicing culture to my children so they know who they are on a daily basis. All of those things inspire the themes on this album. The album suggests conflict or struggle. What internal or external battles are reflected in the lyrics? Land back, land back, land back, land back, motherfucker, land back. Give us our land back or pay rent. Both, really. Pay back rent and give us our land back. Yeah, that's the conflict and struggle. Colonization. My people have been fighting against this shit for 500 years straight. We ain't going nowhere. I'm the child of the ones that stayed home and didn't go to Oklahoma. You heard? What inspired the lyricism behind the concept of faulty doctrines? Yeah, same thing. Like being told my whole life that my family's history is a fucking lie. Ha- Learning that the government made it illegal for my ancestors to practice their culture publicly and having to take on a totally different identity in order to stay home. That inspired the lyrics. Seeing what the future holds inspired the lyrics. pushing towards a better today than yesterday. That's what inspires the lyrics. The risks we take every single day to make, you know what I'm saying? Every single day. The risks we take to make shit straight. That's what inspired the lyrics. I'm appreciative of it all. How has your spirituality influenced your songwriting process for this album? Hmm, easy. I crack a door. I light some incense. I play the record. I let God come in and dictate what I'm doing. That's really it. I'm an instrument for real, for real. How does indigenous culture shape the narrative in tracks like The Warriors? Land back, nigga. Straight up. Straight up. Land back. And the funny thing is, my family got our land back. We were very fortunate. We are very fortunate that we got our land or a piece of it still. So that's cool. But it's not just about me or my family. It's about let's make shit right. The descendants of these people that got slaughtered or in prison, we need to balance this karma out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay what you owe. How do you balance the rawness of street life with the spiritual themes on this project? I tell like it is, at least from my perspective. Not saying my perspective is right all the time, but I tell it how I see it. And I see a spiritual reason or divine reason for everything that happens. Like if Earth is a school, everything that happens in school Earth is pushing us forward towards the ultimate goal, which is success in graduation, right? So that's that. Are there any tracks that serve as a form of catharsis for you? All of them. My next show, I'm gonna perform the whole album in track order, like all of them. The way I put the album together, it feels amazing. It's just therapeutic to listen to this shit. So, what was the writing process like for this album? Did you approach it differently from your past works? Uh, hmm. I didn't. Well, I approach. Yeah, yes and no. I I've had eras where I did nothing but freestyle. I've had eras where I did nothing but write. This was a fusion of the two, and this is how I've been doing it for the past few years. I don't really think the process was different. Maybe a little more motivation behind it because I don't have as much time to spend brainstorming. So the first thought I got, or the first feeling I got from hearing the record when I sat down to write it, I extrapolated and expanded upon that. How did I decide on sequencing the tracks? All right, so this is a little insider information, I guess. I've been doing this shit. I always pretty much always do this. So I have a pool of records. As I'm making them, sometimes I'm like, all right, this this sounds like an intro or something towards the front. This sounds like an outro or something towards the back. This should go somewhere in the middle. So I have a pool of records. I'll listen to them all on random. And I'll just start writing where I feel like they go. And I I make sure song to song transition is nice. So certain songs shouldn't be next to each other, but certain songs go great next to each other. So that's another thing I do. And then once I figure out the track listing, I'll listen to it in reverse to see if it sounds better backwards, because sometimes it does. And this time it sounded just as good frontwards and backwards. So I might put out a deluxe edition of it backwards with like new artwork or something. Were there any tracks particularly difficult to complete? In my mind again, and that's just because of all the singing. But as far as like difficult to write and all that, no. Um, I write a lot of tongue twisters, so at times it can be difficult to deliver the verses over the mic. But then that's practice. But nah, that shit wasn't difficult, except for the singing part, and that was really just because I did so many layers and having to mix that shit, and I really pushed my processing power with my computer for that. How long did it take to finish the album from start to release? Ooh, that's difficult to quantify because at least one of these songs is a couple years old, maybe. Oh no, let me look at the track list. No, none of these are old. Probably about 8 months. And that's with my computer crashing and me spending like 2 months trying to figure all that shit out. So if I took that down, probably about 6 months, five for real. What role do the producers and shit play in shaping the overall sound of God Has No Allies? I mean, yeah. um, yeah. Prolific played the biggest role, definitely. He probably should get executive producer credit on it because we went back and forth about themes and sounds and tempos quite a bit. Um, Aiden and Neek Ways, not so much. I just picked out a beat packs they sent me and just kind of I did my thing with that. But still large. I mean, their contribution, the producers contribute to 50% of every single record. So that much. But I ordered it, I curated it, all that. How do you know when a track is finished and ready for release? Oh, I feel good about it. It's all about feelings, intuition. Um, I've written, so I know I'm finished writing a song when the song is finished being written. Um, excuse me, I've been up for quite a while. Um, yeah, that's really it. As far as like the actual sound, the quality of the sound of the record, it's when you could do more, no more to it without it sounding crazy. As far as the lyrics, when all the lyrics are delivered without mistake and all the words are enunciated clearly and correctly. Um, then we mix them, we get the actual sound of the vocal together. So it's you know, feel it's got feel right. What's your creative process when you're balancing multiple things in a single project? Uh, I mean that's how my mind works. I start out freestyling. Like my mind moves faster than my mouth. Well, I'm pretty sure it's like that for everybody, but my mind moves faster than my mouth can keep up. So, as far as from a rap standpoint, I have to either speed my mouth up or slow my mind down to I have to make those two match and match. Yeah, match soul resonance. Shout out to Soul Leader. Power resonance. Shout out to Akira Toriyama. God bless. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's it's a feeling. When you do something enough, feel it. Any unexpected ideas or sounds make it onto the final version of the album? No, no. I go into the process not expecting anything. outside of me doing my very best. So, nah, how you prepare yourself mentally and spiritually to create an album like this? That's a daily thing. It's a daily process. I'm an artist. I live the life of an artist. I don't really know how to not be an artistic person. So again, it's repetition. What equipment or software did you use during the production of this album? Um, we recorded everything into FL Studio. I think we're on 21 or whatever, whichever version is out because we have the most recent one. Um, MXL condenser mic, M audio interface. I got a couple terabytes of a solid state drive, hella RAM on this machine. Um, I got another. I got a control surface as far as a mixer board to make it a lot easier to record myself, like tactile buttons, and I have to like click with the mouse. It's yeah, that's about it really. How you think this album will be received by your audience? Hmm. Everybody that's heard this album has given me feedback. It's been positive. It's been very, very positive. I'm appreciative. I feel like this is my greatest. This is my best effort so far, and I'm appreciative. What kind of feedback have you got from listeners? That's that. Did you see this album reaching a wider, more diverse audience compared to your earlier work? Yeah, I think so, because it's more up-tempo music. It's a lot more up-tempo music. It's performable. It's fairly danceable. Yeah, I think so. What role do you think this album will play in your overall discography? Hmm. I think this one might be the one that a lot of people say I turned the corner on. I think this might be the one that people who are introducing other people to my music point to and they say, yeah, listen to this one. Yeah, I think this is that one. How do you hope God Has No Allies will influence other hip hop artists? Uh, I hope it'll influence other hip hop artists to be themselves fully and wholly in their music and their art, and to continue to produce dope art for the sake of pushing the culture forward. What do you think will resonate with listeners the most from this album? Being inspired to get up off your ass, nigga. Be inspired to get up off your ass, nigga. Go get it done, my nigga. You heard me? That's what I hope. That's what I think. Have you noticed any unexpected reactions to certain tracks? Ooh. Um, people have told me they really like it's a couple of them. People told me they really like a couple joints. Like they like the Warriors. The Warriors is probably a standout record, which I knew when I heard the beat. Like that's one of the ones. Only Us came to win. This is the one that kind of surprised me that people like really gravitated towards. Like people tell me this is my Queensbridge record, and I appreciate that. How do you hope to evolve musically after this release? To improve my skill, to improve my live show. That's how I hope to evolve musically. I would love to perform this album with a live band and get back into that. It's fun too. What's the one track on this album you're most proud of and why? Phyllis Hyman. I made a love song and it's not corny. And it's beautiful. And it's ode to my wife. And it's just dope. And that's why. Also, Only Us, The Warriors, Came to Win, The Rambler Part 2, In My Mind Again, Faulty Doctrines, Reasons, all of them. You heard? if someone can only listen to one song from the album, which one would you recommend and why? It depends on the person. If I know them personally, I'll throw them something I know they'll really fuck with. If I don't know 'em, I would probably give them. I'd probably give them "Only Us" or Phyllis Hyman. I would give girls, women, I would let them listen to Phyllis Hyman. Dudes, I would go "Only Us." And yeah, that's the questions I got for this joint. Yeah, the album "God Has No Allies" available at oxbls.com exclusively. I might throw it on streaming one day. Yeah, it's that shit though. Like it's that shit. Like real live, it's that shit. Fuck with it. It's my best one so far. And the ill shit is just on some artistic shit. I got another album done already. The next album might hit streaming before God Has No Allies because I'm releasing that one as singles. But yeah, like we working over here. So with that being said, peace.